You're listening to the HFPA in Conversation with Robert Pаттинson.
Hi, this is Christine Geibels from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for a podcast series, HFPA in Conversation, where we get to talk to prominent people in the entertainment industry. Today we have actor Robert Pаттtinson, who is one of the most hardworking and accomplished actors of his generation. So Robert, it's great to see you. How are you doing today?
Hardworking. Sorry, what was the question?
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Okay, let's get started. Let's start off with The Lighthouse. It's an indie directed by Robert Eggers. So could you just walk us through the months leading up to getting this role?
God, what was I doing then? I think maybe I'd just done Claire Denis' movie, High Life. I think that's when I met him. And I think I was around about that time. I met him in New York. I'd seen The Witch years before, but and I loved it when it came out. But it was just one of those things where it didn't click to me that like his skill as a filmmaker was so obviously apparent. I was someone I just kind of, I think it's because I just never really pictured myself being in like a horror movie, and I just I don't know, I just didn't click to me. When I met him and really liked him, and he had like 4 ideas which were really, really cool. One of them I really liked, but it was so massive, and I think the money never came together. And then I think I talked about liking the characters that appealed to me a lot were kind of always like perverted or like something kind of off about them, and there's always something in a character where like if I can say it to my mum and she's like, oh no, afterwards, then that's how I pick parts. And then Robert, they're like, I think I've got the part for you.
And then you get the role, and obviously then you find out that you're going to be shooting this in Nova Scotia of all places. I guess the weather conditions are pretty harsh. Can you talk a little bit about what it was being there, shooting there? I hear it can have like 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, and then but it has it's this bizarre. It can be beautifully sunny, and then suddenly this gale force wind comes in, and it's hailing massive hailstones like 5 seconds later. But it was great. I mean, it was kind of the weather's like a massive part of the movie, and all these little things like the seagulls that kind of just ended up circling the set, which weren't there normally because they were eating the craft service. And it kind of lots of fortuitous events happen while shooting there, but it's very much a kind of me and Willem bonding in misery. Actually, I keep making out that this is like it was an absolutely delightful movie to shoot. It's kind of, it looks miserable, but it's kind of there's something, as long as you're not fighting against the elements in the part, like if you're constantly like having to wear a Cinderella dress or something and it's hailing, then that would be very frustrating. But with this, it's just kind of, I don't know. I like it when you can just get on with it, basically.
And I guess it also doesn't hurt that you were opposite a guy like Willem Dafoe. I mean, what was that like?
No, Willem was, I think everybody's a massive fan of Willem, and I kind of think you'd be really hard pressed to find someone who doesn't rate him very, very highly. But yeah, it's funny because in the script, the description of his character, it always read to me like he was this kind of like just blunt force sort of obelisk, like, because there was so much kind of physical domination of my character, and I just assumed the guy was going to be enormous and just evil afterwards, and I couldn't think of an actor who was really going to do that, really, because I'm kind of quite tall, and I was thinking like, who's going to be an actor who's like 6'5", like massive, and then when Robert Eggers sent me a picture of Willem, something like, wow, because there's something very frightening about him. He seems dangerous, but there's also mischievousness and a kind of like, I don't know. There's just something like naughty about his face and his kind of voice, and he is like that. There's a mischievous energy to him, and it really changes the tone because the script was funny as well, and it's really so much of it's down to how Willem played it, but it's kind of how like the lightness that it has.
Yeah, I guess his face definitely helps, but also I was just wondering, in between takes, you play all these, you play these messed up characters and that are, driving each other insane. But then when you're done with that take, do you like just go like, oh, okay, so you just go back to like something funny, or do you kind of stay in character, the both of you? What does that look like on set for you two?
Yeah, under normal circumstances, I don't really know what sort of staying in characters. I mean, I think a lot of it's just conserving energy. I find it quite tiring talking to people and going in and out. I mean, like, and so normally I have to be pretty quiet. But with this, Robert Eggers loves doing pretty long takes. I mean, there are a lot of scenes in this which are just the entire sequence is one shot, and they're very sort of adrenalized, like high intensity scenes, and you kind of, I think we do the scene, and you genuinely don't know how many you've got in you. Willem has seemingly an infinite number that he just never gets tired, no matter what. And but yeah, I'd kind of at some of this stuff that you'd get to the end of the take, and it's like, well, I've really felt like I've just run a marathon.
There's lots of fake drinking involved, and one of the things about movies is that sometimes these scenes can look a little bit silly. Like when it's done great, it's really great when an actor plays a drunk guy. I mean, this might be a little bit of a silly question, but how did you get it right? Because it looks so real, and it's not.
I think in this you kind of, it's funny, when I was doing interviews with Willem gives these great answers to that question. He sounds so serious. He's got this really good ideas about craft. Like, I'm just always like, I just run around in circles and make myself throw up. I think you sort of do the aftermath. I think if you kind of get it into your body, the aftermath of, because it's not just like, it's not the joyous drunkenness either. It's the drunk when you've actually lost control of everything. And I think if you're kind of, I don't know, physically getting your body into that, I don't know, get kind of, it's just sort of hypnotizing yourself. I mean, there's a scene with me and Willem, and I'm saying I don't like his cooking. I mean, literally at the beginning, I didn't even know where I was half the time. Like, I was literally, and you're just kind of, it's weird that Willem can seemingly just switch it on and off and just to drive me crazy. I was like, why am I sitting here doing all this crazy stuff, making everybody uncomfortable?
And then you're like, I'm just trying to preserve energy.
It's like, stop throwing up all over the floor, you freak.
Let's move to The King, another project that you're in alongside Timothée Chalamet. You worked with director David Michaud before, so I'm just wondering, I was going through notes and it said that he actually gave you a lot of freedom to develop the character and create it. What was that like for you? Did you like that?
I don't think he necessarily wanted to.
You're like, I'm going to do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd come just off The Lighthouse into this, and I found that accent really difficult in The Lighthouse, and I was working with a dialect coach who I really liked, but it's a very particular accent, and I found it like quite stressful having, because if I had too many people telling me things in between takes, it was making me feel a bit funny. And until the next one, I read it a couple of times on The King, and like, I just really enjoy doing a French accent, and I was like, no, this is French accent to me. Like, I don't care what anyone else says. And so I kind of said, and David kept wanting to hear it. And I was like, I just knew he was going to be like, nah, you need a dialect coach. If I had told him, so I just didn't tell him. And then when we got there, I went to the hair and makeup trailer, and Lily Rose Depp was having her wig made, and I was thinking, I just loved the look of her wig so much, and I was thinking, this guy, like, he wants to be a princess too. He's the type of guy who'd be incredibly jealous of his sister, and there's something about the idea of an older brother being jealous of a younger sister's looks and wanting to look like. I just thought it was quite funny.
So you're like, I want that wig.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the princess. Like, I'm the prince and the princess.
The costumes are great. So, I mean, how much fun was it to play around with those costumes and also putting it on for the first time? Do you become the character?
Yeah, I mean, like, when there was so big. Oh God, I forgot what the costume designer's name was. The costume designer who's absolutely incredible, Jane Petrie. Putting on the stuff within it. I had like all this gold thread in it and stuff, and just the cut of it as well. I mean, I always love something when the cut of a costume makes your whole posture completely different, and it really it was so peacocky that it just completely changed things. I mean, also when putting on these massive robes and cloaks and things, and the way you sit when you're in a throne, it's just very different to Timothy and Joel's look when they're just in muddy, bloody armor, and then if you're sitting in a throne with this kind of Hugh Hefner robe, that just kind of makes you behave very differently.
You talk about the armor. That scene where your character is wearing it, was that you in the mud?
Yeah.
It was you. Yeah.
That was surprisingly difficult to do.
I was going to ask you, yes.
Yeah. Just to kind of fall, because it was like falling over, sort of fake falling over, like it hurt too. I mean, that was like, because there wasn't actually that much mud to slip on, and so you're and if you do it in too fake a way, that's really obvious. I think I did it a couple of times, and I was like, and then David was saying, like, I think we're going to do it with the stunt double. And then do it with the stunt double. They're like, he's falling down too well. Like, you need to fall down because you look like you literally can't stand up afterwards. And so, yeah, I did that for ages. But it was fun. I remember reading that the first time I read the script. And it's you think, I'm going to have this glorious showdown. And I think at one point there was a fight. And David changes to like, nice, fall over, and everyone else stabs you. And it's kind of funny.
It looked really painful, so there you go. You had most of your scenes with Timothée Chalamet. I'm just wondering, are you guys friends at all? Do you stay in touch?
I haven't seen. No, I have seen him since then. Just a couple of times, but he's constantly working. He's a really nice guy, though. And they're very, very talented. Like, I love doing those scenes with him, and. I mean, what an incredible career he's doing now, because he's he's obviously got incredibly good taste, and he can back it up too.
And his French is pretty good too.
Yeah, I loved also saying it. I love that. I mean, just say to someone who can speak absolutely perfect French, please speak English.
Did he tell you, like, Robert, you're doing great. Your French is actually pretty good.
Definitely not.
Well, let's move to your favorite subject, the Batman, that Warner Brothers is very excited for you to talk about. Did you get a phone call today telling you that you cannot talk about it at all, or?
You just get afterwards as soon as, even if you say the title, you can just get
an
email
scared.
from saying, like, we're very disappointed in you.
So we're going to have to be very careful right now. Let's go back to the beginning, because I guess what happened is that someone leaked in the press that you were going to play the Batman. Is that what happened?
Yeah, on the way to Cannes for The Lighthouse.
So someone tipped off the press, and then all of a sudden just became this little shit show.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny, and I guess when the sort of secrecy of things, I guess it's taken very seriously, and so I just thought they'd all have thought that I did it, but I can't even get people to come to dinner with me, let alone be able to leak stuff to the press. I don't even know my PIN number.
Well, could you just walk us through that day when the whole world found out that the news prematurely? what was that like for you in the first place, and just for the people involved? Did you think that, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to play this role? Or
yeah, and it was weird as well because everyone just assumed it was true, and it wasn't true at the time, and so and then everyone, I was doing every single. It's also annoying as well because you go. Lighthouse is a little movie, and you always don't want to piss people off where they organize this whole press tour and everybody asks you about something else, and that's and so I didn't want to, and then you don't want to look like a dick because you're kind of say oh no, can we talk about this please? I'm just whatever. You but and also I didn't even have it. I literally so. Yeah, it was tough, but it's quite stressful. And I also I had to be doing the screen test 2 days later.
Mm-hmm. You are still shooting the Nolan movie. I assume you haven't started prepping for Batman yet.
I mean, I have in my mind, but and I've been talking to Matt and stuff a lot. I mean, I found out that there are quite a lot of Batman comics. There's loads of them.
There really are.
There's tons.
Are you reading them? Are they sending you stacks and stacks of comics to your house?
No, I was kind of getting them myself. I mean, I actually got a bunch of the Golden Age ones years ago, completely separate to them. There's nothing to do. I got it for my birthday 2 years ago, and even that is volumes upon volumes, thousands of pages. But it's kind of interesting seeing the evolution of it. And the character's been extraordinarily different throughout the decades. But it's kind of nice. I've never been really that into comics. When I guess in England it was never really that big a thing. It wasn't the same as the States, where it's there's very much a comic culture. I think it's much more fringy in England.
Well, you were also watching soccer and those things. That's more a British thing to do, I guess.
Yes, I always try and remember what I don't know what I was doing when I was a kid. I don't have any memory of it at all.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know about that.
Or a really bad thing. I just blocked it all out.
Also, you're going to have to get a little bit buff for that. Do you have an idea of how you're going to do that? You're going to have to eat a lot of chicken.
Body double will do just fine.
And let's move on to another project of yours, The Stars at Noon. What's the latest status on that? It's announced it's not in pre-production, or it is?
No, I mean, I think it would definitely be end of next year. I'm I talk to Claire about it all the time. I mean, it's a really, really good script. I mean, and the book is amazing. And really cool part. And I love working with Claire. I think she's incredible. And I'm just I think before having started, I think Batman's involves quite a lot of focus. And I haven't even finished Chris's movie. I've still got quite a significant amount of stuff left to do.
Are you getting worried?
And I'm literally just wait a second, when is our day off?
Yeah, I assume that you don't have any days off right now. You're just
I'm doing 7 days a week at the moment.
It's very exciting. I mean, it is exciting.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be you at this time, in life. Just a more general question. What are some of the projects that you have done that you're very, very proud of, that have a special place in your heart?
I mean, all of them really. I feel it's strange. I feel the stuff you try and figure out in one movie, you do bring it to the next one, a lot of the time, especially with the bigger parts, especially things about understanding of a camera, where I think there's that no one really wants to admit it that much, but knowing your face is so important in film acting, and you think you can just, it's not just about feeling something or being able to like express it. It's like you're acting to the camera almost more than you're acting to the other actor or whatever. It's like, and it's really the only way to do that is being in front of a camera. I mean, it's like, and so you know, if you're concentrating each movie, like you have an understanding of what light and I think that's, you know, it's something you can literally only learn through experience unless you just have it naturally. But I've definitely kind of got a little bit better at that. What is the question? What am I even answering?
No, you're doing a great job.
Really?
Yes, keep going. No, just speaking about experience, I was going through transcripts from over the years, and I guess Harry Potter was the first time that HFPA talked to you. And, you know, this was so long ago. So since it was such a big project for you, were you scared at the time?
With Harry Potter? No, I mean, it's one of those things. It was a really nice environment on Harry Potter. It was kind of the way Warner's and David Heyman had organized that studio. It seemed like it was so separate. Like even compared to movies I've done since, it was very protected. Like I mean, the way the kids were treated. I mean, it wasn't like, do you know, I've watched on movies where you see a kid who's got their tutor, and it doesn't exactly seem like they're really going to school. I mean, it's just kind of they're just fulfilling a legal requirement. But in Harry Potter, it was like they were at school and they were kind of doing work at the same time. I mean, I'm sure it didn't really feel like that for them, but I mean, because I'd finished school, I was like, wow, you guys are doing full hours of classes and stuff. But it just felt like a very friendly kind of family environment. I really loved Mike Newell as well. And it was amazing. I mean, especially doing that press tour. I mean, I remember going to Tokyo the first time and sitting in my room, like looking out over the city and just being like, whoa, like what, how has this happened? Yeah, it was very special. And I really liked that movie as well. It's kind of, it really, that sort of changed. I mean, I wasn't going to be acting professionally if it wasn't for that.
And you mentioned back then being starstruck at the time by, you know, the kids that were already on that movie, because I guess the franchise was already like a big phenomenon.
Yeah.
So are you still in touch with Daniel Radcliffe and any of the cast?
I'm actually not. I mean, I've seen Emma occasionally over the years. I haven't seen Daniel since the premiere of the fifth one in LA, where I thought I was so out of the loop then. I remember going to the premiere and I was staying, I was like doing like pilot season, and I was staying up the road at my friend's house. And I was like, I literally saw on the internet, like, oh, it's the Harry Potter premiere today. At Grauman's, and I like email my agent, like, can I go to the premiere? I'm like in the movie, like I didn't even realize I was in it, and like a kind of a ghost or like there's some part of it I can't remember. And I remember like just walking down Hollywood, and it was a long walk, like a kind of 45-minute walk. It was boiling hot, and I'd literally been just eating pizzas and drinking beers for the whole summer, and I looked disgusting. And I then got to the crowd, and there's like thousands and thousands of Harry Potter. I don't know why I didn't even think about this. I'm like, it's cool, I'll just walk there. And then I walked into the crowd, and then got to the premiere, and they were all like kind of surprised I was there, and they're like, do you want to do the red carpet? I'm like, what? And then my agent was seeing these pictures on Getty, a Wire image, and just being like, what are you doing? Like, why are you being photographed like this? You look like you're out of your mind. And it's just still, my agent still sends them to this day, and I'm like, I mean, I literally look like such an unbelievable mess. But that's the last time I saw Daniel. Pouring sweat. And I mean, it's and then she looks like I mean, you can see the photos, it looks horrendous.
And then fast forward a few years later, you have your own franchise. It's Twilight. Do you remember auditioning for the role of Edward?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was, I'd gone to LA because I'd been just sending tapes in London. When you used to have to, I didn't even have a fancy video camera. I would use my parents' old Sony Handycam, probably from the early 90s. And I'd be using tapes, which was recording over then Christmases and stuff. send them to my agent, and then I had to edit them all. And I thought I got this, and I'd sent tons and never got anything. I'd been with my American agent for 3 years at that point, and never got a job. And there's this one job, which was it's called Ticket to Ride, but I can't remember what it's called. It's an Alexis Bledel movie. I think it got released under something else. And my agent was like, "Yeah, they really want you for this thing. You should come out. This is the one. This is the one." And then just came out, and there was a scene. So much detail about this pointless story. Yeah, there was a scene when he had a guitar or something. Well, I can't even remember that. My agent was like, I was playing music a lot at the time. They're like, "Take your guitar into the audition."
So you'll stand out.
Yeah, to stand out. And I just walked in and they were like, "Oh, you brought a guitar. Do you want to play us a song?" And I'm like, "No." This is the worst decision I've ever made.
So you brought a guitar?
Yeah. And then I was saying no, and like, "What? So you just brought a guitar in just to hold it? Why did you bring a guitar in?" And I my entire confidence is just, it just shit the bed. And then the audition was one of the worst auditions I've ever done in my whole life. And then I was like, afterwards, I remember calling my parents, being like, "I'm done. This is I can't torture myself like this anymore." And then the next day I got a Twilight audition.
It's crazy how life goes. Well, I guess you had an idea of what fame was gonna be like because of Harry Potter, but then all of a sudden you're smack in the middle of it. Who was that person who was always there for you to kind of guide you through your Hollywood adventure?
I've always really I've been with the same agents from when I was 16, and I get on with them really well as friends, as well as it's not really, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing it at all without my English agent, because I was just doing a random neighborhood play, and there's just something about the kind of strangeness that it to have ended up doing it as a job, and then still being able to do it as a job. And I love being able to have people with me who can sort of see the whole journey, and it's always really, it's fun. And then you can kind of, you can make long-term goals and aims and kind of work them out together, and it's so much more pleasant if you're just kind of on your own doing it, or you don't really trust your agent, because I guess your agent's the person you talk to the most about all this stuff. It's just an entirely different thing. If it's because I've always been a little bit protected from the cutthroat element of it, and so I think it's really helped with not getting jaded or too competitive with people. Even though I am quite competitive. But definitely, I've ended up being very, very lucky with the people I've signed with, and they're all friends with each other as well. So they're actually I ended up with being with very good people, just good people, not just within the industry, but very just good people.
And then you're named sexiest man alive, and you get a wax figure, and
you get a wax.
Yeah, please put the figure in
you get
there.
a wax, sexiest man alive.
And all those odd things that come with the job. I'm sure there's people who showed tattoos of your face on their bodies. What is that like?
It's funny the difference. I remember like when quite a lot of people got the Twilight tattoos, and I always was a little bit thrown by that at the time. When I saw a dude the other day who had a good time one, I'm like, yeah, man, that's awesome. Like, I don't know why it suddenly feels very different. But now, I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's probably nothing more like, if you went and got a massive Twilight tattoo right now, that'd be one of the most punk things you could do.
Well, it's almost vintage now.
I mean, that's awesome. That's like having a Marilyn Monroe tattoo.
Yes. Well, I mean, like, yes. You're not wrong. I wonder what that tattoo looks like now. I mean, like 10, 15 years later.
Yeah, it's awesome. When people don't even know what it is. It's so random. There was one woman who got her whole back done. I'm like, that's awesome.
You know, I went through some old transcripts of your like earlier days, and I just, you know, the next couple of questions are very lighthearted, so I want you to have fun with it. One of the things you said when you were 18 doing Harry Potter at the time was, I wanted to be a rock star before, but my sister became a singer and my dad said, why don't you try acting? So what appealed you the most about that rock star lifestyle?
I don't even remember that being true, to be honest. Like,
Totally made that up.
I think my dad always wanted me to take dancing lessons. And he still does.
And did you? Or you didn't?
I didn't. I couldn't quite. That was one bridge I just couldn't cross. But I wanted to be a musician. I was playing music all the time. I went when I was younger. I was doing. That's what I wanted to do, and then, it's yeah. I mean, just kind of got a job. I mean, acting's really fun. Like when you're getting jobs, I mean, it's great. It's like one of the best jobs you can ever get.
You don't say.
Yeah. If you're not getting jobs, then it's one of the worst jobs you could ever have imaginable.
I know, and there's so many people in Hollywood. They have waiting jobs, and
it's horrendous.
Yes.
Will drive you completely crazy.
Yeah.
No.
This one I really like. You said at 32, or that 32 was going to be your year. You said that 10 years ago.
Now try and tell me I'm not psychic.
And so you really did, because you're 33 now. So what was 32 like?
What happened at 32? No, I mean, I knew when I signed up for after the first Twilight, we were doing the deal for the sequels, and I knew then, I was like, this is 10 years and I was 22 then, and it's like, yeah, that's like reasonable. You're doing 5 movies in the same series, and to be honest, I mean, like, it's scary. Like the first sort of year after I finished, I was like, am I gonna get really like typecast? I mean, it's a scary position to be in, but you're like, at the same time, you're like, well, you're the one who decided to do 5 movies playing the same character. Like, it's like, you know, you made your bet. Like, and but I had a feeling, I sort of knew if you just kept pushing, because I mean, up until every movie I did before Twilight, I thought was a pretty strange. They're always kind of abstract. After Harry Potter, it's kind of what's always appealed to me. I mean, even Twilight itself, it was the abstract nature of it that I liked in the first place. It's a weird story. It's not like they're just 2 kids falling in love in high school. It's like he wants to kill her and eat her. Like, I mean, it's like, it's kind of, it's prettily put, but like, he still wants to kill her, and she kind of wants him to kill her, which is kind of, you know, it's like super extreme emo. But yeah, and then at Best by 32, it seemed like I'd kind of turned things around a little bit, like to kind of, you know, things would, it seemed like every job kind of allowed for the next one. Like after doing Cosmopolis, kind of got Rover, and then the Rover got Lost City of Z, and then kind of all these things contributed to it. So like I wouldn't have been able to do The Lighthouse if I hadn't done Good Time, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. You went to drama club when you were 15. And I guess you remember why you went to drama club.
Yeah, for the girls.
Yeah. Was one girl?
I actually didn't even know which. Oh no, it was one girl.
Yeah.
But yeah. My dad had seen a bunch of girls in a restaurant and asked them where they'd gone, and then told me. But then I found out that there was this girl I liked who went there. Okay.
So I guess the way I saw it was that you owe your career to this girl because you went to drama school for one girl.
Yeah, I told her that.
What did she say?
Told her that, but dated her afterwards.
She's been telling everyone now. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. I wanted to talk a little bit about your music because you play guitar and piano, compose your own music, make your own music. So are you still doing that?
Yeah.
And is there an album coming out anytime soon? Can we look forward to that? Or
I mean, I'd love to say there was. I mean, it's just kind of... I used to be very, very, very frightened of that and of the judgment. But I guess as you just get older, you get less afraid of it. You're like, you just don't care. And so it's kind of, I mean, I would love to one day. It's just like, I mean, it's a massive undertaking. And I think also you kind of, like, unless you're playing all the time, I used to play every day. And unless you're playing all the time, it's kind of the stuff you're writing. It's not great.
Is he still a songwriter?
He hasn't been for a while, but I should encourage him to do that again.
And your sister's still singing?
She still sings, yeah. And yeah, my dad is a very good painter nowadays, which is kind of exciting.
Because I was going to say, you guys can start your own band. The Pаттinsonom.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a lot of famous friends, so I was wondering if you have any, like, people always say that the musicians are the interesting people. I don't know if that's true. Maybe you can tell me.
Yeah. Out of my friends?
Yeah.
Certainly not that any more interested in anybody else. I do kind of like that confidence when someone's, they're sort of, because it's your name. It's a different type of confidence that actors, you can kind of, you're saying all actors and that. I mean, I've always thought, you've always done parts where people who've liked it, they like the part and the character. And so you can always say like, no, it's that. There's a separation.
Right. I know what you mean.
Whereas I've always found it relatively interesting when someone's literally like, no, it's the whole industry is me. It's my name on top of everything. It's fascinating.
And what's life like in LA for you these days? Do you have like a favorite pub? Do you go to Runyon Canyon every day?
I don't go to Runyon Canyon every day.
To prep for Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I just really like my house in LA. That's like, I love my house. And yeah, I'm always away so much, but it's just kind of nice when you're around just to kind of hang out.
Because I was going to ask you too, because you kind of live out of a suitcase, maybe half of the year, maybe more, maybe less. What is that like for you? Do you enjoy it? Or are you always happy to just come home?
I think I kind of have about, I have a window where after about 4 months in a place, I start to get antsy, which is kind of nice in some ways. Like I know if I stay in a place too long, I start to completely fossilize. I become more and more and more like hermetic, and then eventually just don't even open the curtains.
Once you turn 30, I'm 31, so I guess like my experience is that you make like new priorities in your life. I mean, what are those priorities for you at the moment?
I don't really know if I've ever had priorities. It's just always been a chaotic mess.
But for whatever reason, it worked out. So I guess that works for you.
I don't know what direction I'm facing half the time.
No, I mean, like, for example, for me, it was more two things, I guess. I wanted to become more zen, as corny as that sounds, but also learning how to say no, for example. So I guess maybe turning 30 is a little bit of a turning point for you.
Yeah, I've always found you don't need to learn how to say no. You just say yes and then avoid the person afterwards. and then and then that's not a problem. No need to learn a lesson.
Yeah. So I guess we both taught each other some things
Just
today.
keep moving. Keep moving fast.
So are you someone who likes to plan everything meticulously?
No. I'll have like big plans, which I'll kind of get sort of fixated on, but pretty flexible in terms of like everything else.
And this is also a very obvious question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
43. Jesus. I don't know.
Half of your life. 43.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope for sort of. I just hope. I hope I'm still having like fun with stuff. Like, 30s are pretty great. 20s are pretty good too.
Yeah.
And the 10s. And the teens.
The teens. Oh, that sounds so long ago. My goodness. That's 23 years ago.
Yeah. That's when I did the first HFPA thing. Well,
Oh my God.
I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
Or
remember?
18 maybe.
Must have been scary, no?
I've always liked the HFPA ones. It's always kind of more fun than normal. I think it's kind of nice as well to have the same group every year, because there's no equivalent of that when you're doing this stuff. That's always kind of nice.
And you kind of like grew up in front of, everyone's eyes as well. So that, I guess it's both exciting for them and for you too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I think I've managed to stay pretty hidden as, other than doing press stuff, just disappear.
I'm just very surprised by how grounded you are. And I'm saying this in a good way, not in a bad way. Like I thought you would be this or that, but how did that,
I'm just putting it on.
Well, you have 2 more minutes.
I'm going to leave this room and be like, give me some sanitizer. I want to spray it in my ears.
I want my Fiji water room temperature now. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much. And congratulations again on all the movies.
Cool, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the HFPA in Conversation. This episode was hosted by Christine Geibels. Our show is executive produced by Kirpi Wimonen, produced by Lorenzo Soria and Matt Smith, editing by Matt Smith, theme song by Cameron Chambers for the HFPA, logo by Jason Little for the HFPA.
The HFPA in Conversation is a production of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which owns all rights in the recording.